So I think we can now start our session. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session on moving from policy to practice in advancing transparent, responsible, and sustainable food system across Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. My name is Lan. I'm environmental economist with the Agriculture, Food, Nature, and Rural Development Sector Office at ADB. And I'm currently posted in a Vietnam resident mission. It's my pleasure to moderate today's session. Before we begin, let me invite Mr. Ron Slagen, IDB's Regional Head for Operation Coordination in the Southeast Asia Department, to deliver the opening remarks. In his role, Ron oversees strategic programming and portfolio performance across 11 countries in the region. He also previously served as the Deputy Country Director in Vietnam. So Ron, over to you, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, this afternoon, on the third day of the forum, and I hope you're all doing well. High Excellency Kim Son, DG Bundwith Suvale, DDG Hugh, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, good afternoon. So again, a warm welcome to ADB headquarters here in the Philippines, and a welcome to the Food System Forum for 2026. It's my pleasure to open up this event, bringing together stakeholders from Cambodia, Lao PDR, and Vietnam, government officials, development partners, researchers, and private sector actors to reflect on experiences, share lessons, and explore opportunities for collaboration and transforming our food systems in the region. Across the Mekong sub-region, there is a strong recognition that food systems transformation is central to achieving food security, improving nutrition, building climate resilience, and supporting sustainable livelihoods. While each country is at a different stage, all face common challenges: climate change, market volatility, environmental pressures, and the need to integrate small holders and vulnerable communities into resilient and inclusive agri-food systems. ADB is fully committed to supporting this transformation. By 2025, we aimed to mobilize 14 billion for food security, and we're on track. By the end of 2024, nearly 11 billion, or 80%, had already been allocated, with 3.3 billion expected in 2025 alone. Almost half of these investments are long-term, building resilience in water systems, land, infrastructure, and institutions directly contributing to climate adaptation and mitigation. So building on this foundation, we announced a step change in ADB's ambition, a $40 billion commitment, which you may have heard about over the past 3 days, for food systems transformation from 2022 to 2030. This represents two important shifts for ADB. First, we are moving beyond short-term food security toward long-term transformation of food systems. It's critical to address the root causes of the challenges, not just the symptoms. Second, we are expanding our approach beyond public funding alone, actively engaging with the private sector. About 11 billion of our commitment is expected to come from the private sector operations, and we have just launched a new operational approach for food systems transformations for 2026 to 2030, and this provides a clear roadmap to turn these ambitions into concrete actions on the ground. In Cambodia, Lao PDR, and Vietnam, national strategies are modernizing agriculture systems, strengthening food safety, and promoting climate-resilient, nutrition-sensitive approaches. Through these investments, technical assistance, and regional cooperation, ADB supports these efforts to enhance food security, strengthen value chains, and improve access to safe, nutritious food. Initiatives such as Vietnam's Food Systems Transformation Partnership demonstrates how policy can be translated into action, and I had the privilege to support ADB's role in this collaboration while I worked in Vietnam. Our goal in ADB is to build food systems that are productive, equitable, sustainable, and resilient from national to local levels and across the entire value chain. This forum provides a valuable platform to share experiences, identify solutions, and strengthen cross-country collaboration. And by learning from one another, we can accelerate food systems transformation across the Mekong region. So on behalf of the Southeast Asia Department, I'd like to thank our partners, ministries, regional initiatives, CG, IAR, centers, and development partners for the continued commitment. I look forward to a productive session today and to the partnerships that will help advance all of our objectives that we will be discussing. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ron. So as highlighted in the remarks, today's session is really an opportunity for us to exchange experience, share practical lessons, and reflect on how to move from policy to implementation. And we will hear perspective from government representatives, international organizations, and development partners across the three countries. And Ron will be joining us again shortly to chair the plenary policy dialogue following the presentation. So let us now move to the first part of the session. And in this segment, we will hear from senior government officials from Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, as well as from the Alliance of Biodiversity International and SIAD. They will share country experience and practical approach to align national and subnational efforts in food system transformation. And each speaker will have approximately 8 minutes. So let me now introduce our first speaker, His Excellency Ni Kim San, Under Secretary of State, Ministry of Interior of Cambodia. He will present on localizing food system transformation in Cambodia, strengthening subnational governance for climate resilient and nutrition-sensitive development. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Lang. It is my pleasure. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks for inviting me to and given an opportunity for me to give you a very brief presentation on localizing food system transformation in Cambodia in this very important forum. I think for the last few days, I have learned a lot from different speakers, from researcher to academia to policymaker at the ADB level, also as well as different MDC country policy that aim to address the food system transformation. Also, I learned that how to translate policy into bankable and investment project. But but my topic a little bit different, how to translate the policy into local level, which I will touch a little bit on just one aspect of the governance, which means that we aim to localize the food system through strengthening subnational governance for climate resilient and nutrition sensitive development. So very briefly in my presentation, I have 5 contents that will cover for about 8 minutes. One is introduction to subnational leadership. 3, homegrown school feeding program. 4, harnessing digital tools by subnational administration. 5, empowering local institutions. 6, progress as we are seeing happen on the ground. and the one vision toward 2030. I like to quote my colleague from the Council for Rural Development, Agriculture and Rural Development speech during this morning intervention. I mean, recently the royal government of Cambodia just issued the third national strategy for food security and nutrition 2024-2028, along with the updating food system roadmap for 2030. So, as you all well aware that a good roadmap and a good strategy alone cannot make a positive impact without translating those strategy and roadmap into a work plan and action. I believe that the lasting food system transformation should begin at the local level. Among other reforms, the government also put in place the reform of decentralization, a national program on decentralization phase 2, 2021-2030, 10-year national program. In short, the reform aimed at reviewing the existing resource and function that need to transfer to the local government that best fit for them to make a decision that address the local need in a timely manner. So decentralization will serve as a platform at the subnational administration to do a planning and coordination platform with different sectoral ministries that are involved with the local, the food system transformation. Another aspect regarding the local leadership, we also build a lot of training and capacity of the local government. One of them, in terms of climate resilience, climate change, we produce a tool to what we call vulnerable risk assessment, VRA, which this tool integrated into their planning process. So a lot of sectoral ministry use this tool to improve their operational activity and in coordination with the subnational administration. Also, among other aspects that the subnational administration has been dealing with is the integration of climate smart agriculture, nutrition sensitive action, community-based natural resource management into the local development planning. As I mentioned earlier, we are focused on the governance side and all the technical aspects. We coordinate with the different sectors to support into the one integrated planning at the subnational level. When it comes to other aspects in terms of climate change, also we have been doing a long experience working with the other donor to manage the local resource in terms of natural resource management, fishery, land management. Certain aspect has been transferred to the subnational administration. I'm not going to detail what kind of function that has been transferred, just among other like agriculture extension, one of them, community fishery also. And also the subnational administration involved with the issue of the health and food environment that will save healthy and safe food environment through the community. I think we have implement some of the activity involved gender and nutrition, such as the cooking with a mixed vegetable and other locally sourced meat and fish as a model for the family to follow at the community level. This is one of the activity that has been implemented by the commune council. I mean, commune council is the lowest tier of local government in Cambodia. Also, as I already, some of you may heard that the nutrition and school-based service has been implemented successfully and has been presented by my colleague from Cambodia also. So we promote the Khmer language nutrition labeling and expand school-based service such as deworming, hand washing, and food safety education. I will run very quick on the front, like disaster management. Local government received the training on the disaster preparedness response. So they have put into their plan how to prepare the response, which include the emergency and rapid recovery. Emergency, which means that they have to identify or build a safety area to evacuate people when the disaster strikes. And recovery, rapid recovery refers to the distribution of the food or rice seed. In terms of homegrown school feeding program, I think we have implement this activity in collaboration with the World Food Program and USS, that we provide safe and diverse meal to hundreds of thousands of school children. The benefit has been present this morning already, reaching beyond the food nutrition, but create stable local market and also support women. Another intervention that local government has been implementing so far is the use of digital tool to monitor different activity in terms of the school feeding and climate information. We also aim to install agro-meteorology station to help farmers adapt to climate change and to optimize agriculture productivity and sustainability. And as well as we empowering local institutions in terms of localizing food system transformation, empower local institutions to deliver better outcome, reducing malnutrition, strengthening climate resilience, supporting rural livelihood, and building Cambodian human capital. So the progress we are see has been highlighted by Cambodian colleagues during other session already. Do not need to repeat that. So our future, for the 2030, this will align with the government vision to graduate from the low middle income country to higher middle income country. We believe that the subnational administration must lead implementation on the ground. Digital and data system must underpin transparent and effective decision. Investment must support integrated outcome, nutrition, climate resilience, and local economic development. I would like to thank for your attention and apologize is the timing given is a little bit over. This is a picture of the country director visiting the smallholder farmer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for the presentation. And it is very insightful to see how strong local leadership in driving implementation at the community level in Cambodia. We will have time for the question in the discussion in the later plenary. And now I would like to invite Dr. Bondet Sotavilai, Director General of Department of Planning and Cooperation, Ministry of Agriculture and Environment of Lao PDR, to share Lao PDR experience and roadmap toward food system transformation. Dr. Bondet, please. Thank you.
So good afternoon, distinguished participants. It is my privilege to address the important event about our country roadmap for the toward comprehensive food system for Lao PDR. So first of all, I would like to thank ADB for inviting us to join this important event. So today I will talk about the three parts. The one is about the national context and challenge and key of the policy framework for Lao PDR, and second one about the state of how we are preparing of the food system transformation for Lao PDR. So and last one we will talk about detail about the action plan for the future. So what we are talking about now for Lao, we already prepared since the last 2 years. So as you know already, the Lao, we are a small country and we have the landlocked, and also 70% is mountainous area. But however, now the Lao we change from landlocked to the landlinks. We have the Lao-China railway can connect to the China and other ASEAN country. And we also have the potential of the labor because the 70% of the farmer is rely on the population rely on agriculture. And also we still the abundance of the natural resource. We have the 70% of the forest land in the country. And also for our policy framework is a consistent emphasis on balance between green and also the economic developments. So the agriculture sector is a contributes to GDP about 4.1%, and also 17 to 15 is share for the GDP. So it means that it is a continued economic significance for the agriculture sectors. However, we still have the critical challenge. So this challenge we cannot do by one sector. We have to integrate it with the approach for the development truly resilient for the food system. So for the roadmap for the food system transition, now we have in 4 steps. The one is the establishment of national context. So that means we already prepared this one, and the second step for the developing of key framework. So we set up for the 2026-2030, and the third one for the detail of the pathway and how many action plan, how many criteria, and the fourth one about the national action plan start from 2025 and 2030. So about the state of the food system transformation, the transition period from 2025 and 2030. So this period, it means for Lao, we are preparing to out of the LDC country. We will out of LDC for the end of this year, and we have the transition for up to 2029. And this is the objective of the National Action Plan. We have 4 objectives. The one is first we have to understand about the the promoting of the development of food system, and the second one, the capacity building, also the align with the policy, the development, and also the infrastructure. This is the last step for infrastructure. For the National Action Plan, before we have the 45 pathway, and then we discuss among stakeholders, and then we have now about the 20 action plan and 75 milestone. For the key, this one, so I can summarize again the key for the 4 tasks. In totally, we have key action plan and 75 milestone. So I don't have time to go detail about this one. So we have the document we can download. About this is the monitoring. So it means that the black one for the action plan, the blue one is our milestone. That means 2030, the action plan should be equal with the milestone. And for the investment, so to make our transition successful, our action plan successful, now we need approximately about 47.6 million. And so now we already received from UN. I would like to thank you, UN agency. They already provide us 4.5 million, and also the ADB with the 33%, about 30 million of the co-finance from ADB. So this is what the sharing about what we need for how to use the budget. So for the track 4, we need about 50%, more than 50% of the budget to implement the building resilience. And the second one, the advanced equipment for livelihood, about 13.7% of the budget we need. And also the nature positive production service. This is also about 12% of the budget. And safe, the last one, safe and nutrition food, about 12.4%. So for my summary, this comprehensive framework reflects Lao PDR commitment toward for food system transformation. We focus on 4 target track to covering complete food system and production and consumption with the 20 key action plan and 75 milestone. This is for more invitation on partners, on stakeholder to enhance greater partnership for our coordination implementation of our national action plan from 2025-2030. Our collaboration framework focus on key aspects. The one for the technical sharing, the second one, the financial resource, the mobilization, and its institutional capacity building, the policy dialogue, and joint monitoring and evaluation mechanism. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pandit, to share the journey of Lao PDR to advancing the food system transformation with the very concrete action plans. So now next, I would like to invite Mr. Bùi Đức Hiếu, Deputy Director General of the International Cooperation Department, Ministry of Agriculture and Environment of Vietnam, to share updates on Vietnam's food system transformation efforts. Mr. Hiếu, over to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Hiếu from the ICD of the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment from Vietnam. And first of all, thank you for ADB to invite me to have a presentation in the very important section in this afternoon. My topic today for presenting is National Action Plan on Food System Transformation towards transparent, responsible, and sustainability in Vietnam by 2030. How can I move to next slide? It's okay. Sorry. The first one, the formulation and implementation process. From 2022, we announced the decision of the Prime Minister about the Sustainable Agricultural Development Strategy to 2030. In the strategy, we focus on the food system transformation guidelines, basic concepts and ideas are transparent, accountable, and sustainable. For the next, in 2023, we deliver the national plan on transparency, responsibility, and sustainability of the food system transformation, approved also by the Prime Minister. In 2024, the Partnership Agreement for Transparent, Responsible, and Sustainable Food System Transformation in Vietnam, chaired by MAE, the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Industry and Trade, and other ministry, agency, domestic and international partners in coordination. We are formatting of 5 technical groups, including policy institution, agriculture, nutrition, food loss and waste, the distribution and consumption, and also we build the TOR for each group. And also we have 2 provinces in Sơn La and Đồng Tháp as a piloting for the provincial level of the food system transformation national action plan. And also we did the MNE index. For the next year in 2025, we also implement the food system transformation national action plan and reviewing the assignment of tasks in the new situation, and also preparing develop a detailed implementation plan. For the Partnership Agreement of Transparent, Responsible, and Sustainable Food System Transformation, until now, we also signed with the 49 partners the MOU of the food system transformation partnership. We focus on 3 specific objectives. The first one is facilitate the coordination and connection among related ministry, the specialized agency, local authorities, international organizations, NGOs, private sector, and related stakeholders. The second objective to strengthen the institutional capacity, create a system framework and forum for intersectoral dialogue and coordination. And of course, the last one, to mobilize the resources. About the activities of supporting locality to implement the food system transformation national action plan, we are developing a provincial implementation for the food system transformation, training and capacity building on food system transformation, building food system profile, developing a provincial implementing food system transformation, develop a plan to mobilize resources to implement the plan with integrating food system transformation into existing programs such as National Program on Poverty Reduction, local socio-economic development program. Also we integrating nutrition sensitive agri-food system principles in policy agendas. The first one is a national program alignment, nutrition sensitive agriculture and nutrition sensitive agri-food system aimed in a national framework for hunger and poverty reduction national target program. For the cross-sector collaboration, we institutionalize partnership among the Department Cooperative Rural Development under the MAE, with SIAT and with the National Institute of Nutrition from the Ministry of Health, bridging agriculture and nutrition. And the last one, for scaling nutrition agri-food system, we reach 2,000 trainees, 680 households, 180 official and 28 pilot projects across 21 provinces. For the Viet Nam and also our ministry, we actively participate in sharing at the regional and global forums and dialogues. In July 2025, we submitted the second national report on food system, participating in UN Food System Summit +4 Stockholm in Ethiopia. Also in September 2025, we attend the regional workshop. We organized a regional workshop on scaling climate solution in agri-food system in Hanoi. And we also attend the World Food Day OCOP in Rome, Italy in October. And in COP13 in Belém, Brazil, we also have the speak at the Alliance of Champions for Food System in Transformation. About the activities ongoing and priorities, we focus on updating the food system profile of our country and finalize the food system transformation national action plan implementation M&E indicators. Continue to develop communication materials and share information about the food system transformation national action plan. And support the localities to implement the food system transformation national action plan in more provinces across different economic zones. Mobilize resources, explore blended finance and technical assistance to implement the food system transformation at the sub-national level, such as the PPP, convergent agenda with climate and biodiversity finance, agroecology and health diet connection. Yeah, thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hiếu. Yeah, it's very impressive to see a sequence of activities since our initial engagement in the Food System Transformation Partnership Agreement in Vietnam last year. So now let us move to our final presenter for this segment. I would like to invite Mr. Mark Lundy, Research Director at the Alliance of Biodiversity International and SIAT, to share approaches on from policy to practice, a replicable model for subnational food system transformation in the Mekong region. Mark, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lan. And I'd like to start by thanking the colleagues at ADB for the opportunity to speak today. And I'd also like to thank my colleagues who preceded me. I think you've all laid out very clearly the status of food system transformation in your countries and some of the challenges and opportunities you face. So what I'm going to share with you this afternoon is a story about how we actually move from very impressive national food system transformation strategies to implementation at the subnational level. I want to talk about why this is a critical aspect to really turn the promise of the national action plans into change. And I also want to talk about how we can see lessons learned moving across countries. So starting perhaps, we've done a lot of work with our colleagues in Vietnam and seeing how this is expanding to Cambodia and Lao PDR. And I think the important point here to start with is how can organizations like the one I represent, which is a research organization, how can we effectively partner with and support the effective implementation of national food system transformation action plans led by national partners? So how can we bring to bear research, finance, and other skills to make this in reality happen? So let me start by getting briefly into why, if this will work. No. Well, I don't know what happened if it's, okay. There we go. Okay, so I want to start basically by explaining what the question or what the difficulty is we're facing. I think there's been an incredible advance across Asia Pacific and particularly across the Mekong region in the development of ambitious national action plans. And I think this is impressive and it's important to note. But at the same time, the development of a national action plan is best seen as an umbrella. Right? This is a national action plan under which things can happen and it provides an enabling environment. But basically, we need to understand what are the challenges that we need to overcome to move from an overall commitment to action to actually seeing things change on the ground. And so what we find here is there are several challenges that we face when we talk about how to move from the national framework to specific subnational implementation. First of all, there's a need of alignment. How do we actually ensure that the national action plans, which tend to be fairly general, can be tailored to specific subnational needs? How do we accept that context is slightly different and that capacity, data, resources can vary from the national to subnational? And how do we ensure that we actually begin to deal with clear traceability and accountability across the sectors? If we can achieve this, we can align funding, we can build shared technical capacity and understanding, and most importantly, we can promote joint learning. Now, I have here in the middle of measure what matters, and I think this is an important component to focus on. Oftentimes, when we talk about national level food system transformation action plans, we talk a lot about developing monitoring and evaluation frameworks with outcome indicators. And this is very important because these are the targets against which we will measure the effectiveness of these food system transformation national action plans. However, it's very different to think about how we then develop something that's much more around process monitoring and adaptive management capacity to actually actually implement activities that will help us improve the probability of achieving those outcomes that we're trying to work towards. And so what we find here is that there's a need to connect both of these. Okay, and I think this is one of the areas that we feel is really, really critical and what we've been learning. So let me go ahead and illustrate a little bit what this looks like with the case of Vietnam. And this is a specific subnational piece of work. And my colleague, Dr. Hu, who was before me, mentioned the two provinces. So we're working in both Son La in the Northern Highlands and in Dong Thap in the Mekong. And I think what's really important here is to understand what are the different steps and processes to concretely, practically move from a national action plan to subnational implementation. And I think the important thing is we need to start by building capacity and establishing the local actors who can begin to implement. So what we've done in both of these contexts is start by establishing a multi-sectoral provincial working groups, which again, we've heard about that mentioned in the case from Cambodia as well. But we feel this is really critical in order to establish multi-sectoral coordination, not only at the national level, but at the subnational scale. Second, we think that once you've brought together these provincial working groups, how can we begin to actually build capacity, understanding, and a common language to begin to work on food systems? Food systems are complex, and we on the research side don't do ourselves any favors by coming up with new frameworks every couple of years. So it's important to begin to think about how do we make these concepts of food systems concrete? And so, yes, we need to build capacity and explain the concept, But what we find most appropriate is using something like a food system profile or a food systems baseline co-constructed with the local actors as a specific tool that's very useful for making this concrete. So yes, we talk about concepts of what a food system is, but then collectively we go out and bring the data together at the provincial scale to understand what does this actually mean in a specific context. Based on that, then you can begin to enter into the tailoring of the National Action Plan strategies to the specific food system issues that are relevant in a subnational context. Clearly, in the case of Vietnam, the context in Son La in the Northern Highlands is different than the context of Dong Tap in the Mekong. But likewise, across the region, we have a lot of variation. And so we need to understand that these subnational strategies need to be tailored. And then following that, we need to then think about how do we turn this into an implementation plan where effectively we can start not by trying to reinvent the wheel, but begin to see what are the resources, what are the expenditures, what are the capacities that already exist at the provincial scale that can be brought together in more collaborative and collective action that tries to support the development of the food system targets. And then, of course, develop an investment plan and develop a tracking or monitoring and evaluation system that links. So basically, we have several pieces here that are important. On the left-hand side, we have sort of the inputs that come from the national scale to support this process at the subnational scale. So here we have the two boxes on the upper left-hand side that you can see. But likewise, we have a learning component on the bottom where the subnational process feeds back to, in the case of Vietnam, the Food System Transformation Partnership. So there's a learning component. And so the idea is how do we develop these shared learning processes where, yes, the national actors, in this case, the conveners and specific actors from the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment and from the Ministry of Health can work with the subnational actors, but then how can we learn together about what works and how does this then illustrate what's happening at the national scale? And again, there are a set of profiles and guideline tools that are available publicly that we can share with anyone who's interested to see how to do this in detail. And how is this expanding then across Cambodia and Lao PDR? So here we've already heard from our colleagues in Cambodia and Laos, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but there's a lot of important work here about trying to introduce and contextualize key topics. And so work in Cambodia, for example, around increasing the inclusion of nutrition-sensitive food systems. We've already heard about this, so I won't repeat what's been said. Building food system evidence and stakeholder ownership is very important, and we've done that by supporting the Cambodian food system profile with colleagues, and then also trying to understand the demand for sustainable agriculture as a trigger potentially to help drive food system transformation. And in the case of Lao PDR, we've just concluded work with colleagues there on localizing global food system indicators as a way to begin to put together the pieces. So let me just, in conclusion, the model that's been developed in Vietnam, which I've shared and is now expanding across the regions, offers governments what we feel is a replicable, evidence-based pathway from national food system targets and umbrella policies, which are very important, to concrete implementation plans and investments at the provincial scale. We think that the six-step food system development process, using the guidelines that we've co-developed with our partners in Vietnam, provides a roadmap that's relevant for others in the region. And again, we think it's very, very important to think about how international organizations can accompany and support what should be a nationally and locally led process with our partners. It's not about doing research for research's sake or developing data for data's sake. It's about seeing how all of this comes together to support the implementation of national and subnational strategies. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. We look forward to see more results from Cambodia and Laos as well. So we will now move to the plenary discussion and policy dialogue. May I invite Mr. Ron Slagan, Mr. Ni Kim San, Dr. Bondes Sotavile, Ms. Bùi Mỹ Bình, and Mr. Mark Landy to join us on the stage. Please, yeah, on stage, please. So with that, I will hand over to Ron to chair the plenary discussion. Thank you.
Okay, so would like to first thank the presenters for a real engaging topics, and would now like to dig a little deeper into some of the presentations. The theme of today is policy to practice. And so my questions will be really trying to understand that theme. First, I'd like to ask the Cambodia, Mr. Kim San, please. You highlighted, Mr. Kim San, the important role of local leadership and subnational government in shaping food systems transformation in Cambodia. At the same time, local communities are highly diverse, as we know. So how does the government ensure that this diversity across the regions, livelihoods, and vulnerable groups is adequately reflected and integrated into national policies?
Thank you, Don. It's a very good question. I would like to share our experience, how we bring or articulate the voice from the community, from a different group at the community level up to the national formulation activity or exercise. I think as per established practice in Cambodia, before we embark on the formulating any policy, there has to be a national working group. So in practice, the led institution on the policy formulation in terms of food security and nutrition is led by CAD, Council for Agriculture and Rural Development, which is part of the Council of Ministers. So the working group will comprise from the Ministry of Interior, also from the National Committee for Sub-National Democratic Development Secretariat. So we are already part of the national working group to formulate the policy. So this is how we kickstart the policy formulation. So which means that during the formulation process, there's always a dialogue between CAD and the Ministry of Interior, as well as during the stakeholder workshop. So we from the Ministry of Interior will articulate or advocate the role of the local government into the system, which means that at the provincial level, the provincial working group will serve as the platform or coordinating mechanism to consolidate the issue challenge from the commune level. So which means that the existing procedure in terms of planning process at the commune level, which is, I mentioned earlier, the lowest tier of local government, the planning process is very clear. The commune council has to engage every walk of life in simple way like this, and participatory approach, because the planning process at the commune level will have to prioritize the need of the community. So the public consultation is very important at the commune level when it comes to the making a development plan and 3-year rolling plan and annual investment plan. So all the concern and priority from all group of people, especially women, minority, and vulnerable group will take into account. And so this approach, when it comes to the approval of the plan, the commune will send to the provincial level for approval. So that means all the concern, priority, potential for investment has been bottom-up approach up to the provincial level. So this is how it work from the beginning. So I mean, the working group national level will go down to the provincial level to talk about the formulation, what kind of role, what kind of different department sector that should be involved at the provincial level. So we have integrated those idea and concern into the planning process. So I can read out about the role of the community or local government in the developing the strategy on food security and nutrition and the updating food system for 2030. It's just very brief, so to make sure that this is evidence-based, how we promote the local voice into the national policy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kim Son.
So I don't need to read, okay? No?
If you wish, yeah, please go ahead.
Just very short. Communities should actively engage in the designing and managing nutrition and information-related service and have access to an array of services they require and desire: health, agriculture, social protection, to achieve good nutrition and food security, building capacity for local authority and support staff working at the community level. We have deployed commune agriculture officer and village health support group at the community level. This is very clear, has been defined in the national strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really encouraging to see how the national government prioritizes community participation in your national action plan. Moving on to Lao, would like to ask Mr. Bundeth, first of all, congratulations on the recent launch of your food systems national action plan. And we would like to see that there is a strong emphasis on nutrition and healthy diets, areas that are often underfunded in many countries. In Laos, could you elaborate on the mechanisms that the government is putting in place to ensure adequate and sustained finance for nutrition, and particularly to effectively reach the vulnerable populations?
Yes, so thank you for your question. Yeah, if we don't have finance, it's plan, just plan. So this is really important. So what the mechanism for our governments to translate from policy to the action on the ground? The first, we have the Nutrition Convergent Action Blueprint. We have the five-year plan. And the second one, also the National Plan of Action on Nutrition. So in each five-year plan, we will implementing of three national plan, and aligning with the investment of health, agriculture, education, social protection, and focusing on the burden of the area or the province. So demonstrating our commitment, the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment also we set up the food security and nutrition program. This is the first priority of seven program. So this program will be focusing on the nutrition, especially the rural area. And for the five-year plan is set clearly target. For example, the maintain the 4 tons of rice is for self-sufficiencies. And also the rest vegetable intake, for example, 120 to 150 kilograms per capita. This is in the set of the target of the national level. And also that target, especially for the aim to improve the nutrition in rural community and also the ethnic minorities. So to translate the target into action, we work closely with the key partner. For example, IFAD, World Bank, and WFP. Also another important thing, also ADB. So another development partner. We set up the priority projects. For example, the one project from from World Bank is provide the condition cash transfer to the pregnant women in the rural area, also young children. This is the I mean, not only in abstract, but the people in rural area, they can receive the money and to buy the food for their nutrition. And also the IFAD project is implementing on agriculture for nutrition project to deliver the household production. We teach them not only grow in single crop, but multiple crop to make sure there are food for the nutrition. Also through the another fund, for example, the Child Nutrition Fund from the UNICEF and also the WFP to maintain the shock responsive social protection for the climate, the vulnerable for the family in the rural area. So we also recognize the significant contribution of the finance and budget, not only from government, also from the development partner and from the CSO and from private sector. This is more important. And we express that our sincere appreciation to all development partner to support rural area in Lao PDR. And we appreciate and we hope that we will receive your continued support and collaborate in advance for the food security and nutrition in Laos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your close cooperation with development partners on priority projects. You mentioned cash transfer programs and also training and social protection programs. So quite important. Now moving on to Vietnam, Miss Bin. It's really encouraging to see the strong progress in Vietnam in advancing food systems transformation. And of course, the range of support being provided from the central government to the local governments. The question is, are there any established institutional processes or mechanisms in place to systematically mainstream these food system transformation policies from the national level down to the provinces and local communities? And where do you see the gaps or the challenges still existing to make this policy work in practice?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for your questions. As you can see from the previous speaker, from the presentation from Dr. Hiếu and also from Mr. Mark Lundy, you can see that in Vietnam we already have a national action plan for food system transformation towards responsible transparency and sustainability. But when the action is there, how we can put the action, the national action plan toward for the implementation? In Vietnam, the country is before we are in food security and after the đổi mới, the renovation. So we are meet the food security and also the export. But now, especially during the COVID time, and now at this state of the development, the country sees that the agriculture production is we need to make it sustainability. You know that for a long time the productivity of agricultural product is very high in Vietnam, and we also over exploitation of natural resources. So when the food system transformation concept come, so this is the really need for the country, because we think that we need to make the agriculture production sustainable. That is the one reason why the government also pay attention for the food system transformation. And then when the National Action Plan issued by the Prime Minister, and then down to the province level, and in each province they also see about what they have to do with the agriculture. And for example, in in many provinces like Sơn La or in rural province, so they stay focused on production. But for some other like Ho Chi Minh City or other industrial lines, they said no, they want to focus on food safety or other connection. So that is the way we in the ministry, we set up the partnership. At the ministry level, we have Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Industry and Trade. But at the local level, with the technical working group, there are more other, sector involved, like ministry, the finance department or education department or other. So it means that the to put in the implementation the technical working group at the province or the local people, local level, it is important in order to coordinate the limited resource, finance resource, and also the human resources. So how now the way with the food system transformation is the way how we connect to each other and to make the maximize benefit from existing the limited resources. That's the way we think how we can do it. And of course, like many other countries, like developing countries, we also face many challenges, the finance resource, the technical, the innovative actually. So for such things, so we create the partnership with the now over 40 partners, including the international organizations, the NGOs, the private sector, and we are learning by doing, and there we create the platform to see how each partner, each organization with their advantage, they can complement and they can support for better improvement of the food system in the country. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bin. It's encouraging to see how the national ministries have strong partnerships with the local governments, NGOs, and private sector to mobilize resources for sustainable food systems. Thank you. Now, moving on to Mark. Mark, really enjoyed your presentation, and congratulations on all the success by Alliance and your organization, particularly at the subnational level in the 2 provinces you're working. Very impressive. And good to see that this is being expanded into Laos and Cambodia. So beyond supporting policy alignment between central and local governments, what do you see as the role of international organizations, including yours, in actually translating these policies into investments at scale? And what more is needed to move from successful pilots to systematic large-scale implementation?
Thanks. That's a very good question. It's something that we struggle with an awful lot. So I'll give you some of my thoughts, although these are obviously in development and continue. I think it's very important to understand what are the roles of different organizations. So in the case of an international research organization like where I work, or an international development partner in general, our role is very much to support and enhance the capacity of the national partners to implement their strategies. So it's a nationally led policy implemented with subnational actors. And so it's very important to understand that role and understand that what we should do and what we should not do. So it's very much how can we support these actors? And we generally think that there are 3 things that are critical. First, we can help generate and package evidence. Oftentimes, as a research organization, we can help bring together pieces of information or conduct specific research, targeted research that can help answer questions and provide greater evidence for better decision making. Secondly, we think it's critical for international organizations to focus on building institutional capacity. So how do you act? So as I mentioned in my presentation, how can people understand not just the concept of food system transformation, but how do you use that in practice? And that's a major area where I think international organizations can help. And finally, I think we in collaboration with our partners and through co-development and basically design and testing of approaches, we can begin to build replicable processes and models. And this is, again, something that we can do well because we can look across experiences across the region, for example, and say what works here, what works there, why, and how can we learn on how to scale this. So again, I think that's the value that we bring, and I think I tried to lay that out a little bit in the presentation. But there, if you talk about the scaling, the systematic scaling and moving to larger scale, this is an area where I think there are other issues that need to be dealt with. So first of all, I think we need to find a better way to adapt the complexity and the integrative nature of a systems approach, like food systems, to existing government structures and financing mechanisms. So normally, the partner governments that we work with, and you know this probably better than I do, are organized sectorally. Finance normally flows sectorally, yet a lot of the issues that we need to get our heads around and to actually work on are cross-sector, particularly under food systems. And so there's an issue there about how can you develop the capacity at both the national and subnational scale to identify existing resources, financial, human capital, et cetera, and recombine them in creative ways. Nobody has an endless pocketbook, so you have to think about how to become more efficient. And one way is how do you build a more complete vision of food system transformation that's shared, and how can you then drive collective action across sectors to begin to implement that. So that's one we see as important. Second, these are processes that take a bit of time, right? You're not going to automatically, you can develop in the cases we've heard here today, it's taken many years to develop the Food System National Action Plan. Translating that to the provincial scale or to subnational scale will also take some time. So we need to be a bit patient and understand that this is something that needs to be done in a stepwise, strategic way, and it can't just magically happen through decree. So that's the second one. Third, and building on that, is the importance of capacity development. So we've worked quite a bit certainly in the region. We've worked with both Viet Nam and then also in Bangladesh, and building, for example, training of trainers programs around food system transformation. And so building that kind of capacity to take concepts and make it applicable and practical is very important. And that means bringing in networks not only of public sector, but also universities, civil society, and others to really make things, help people understand this. And finally, I think this is important, particularly for the region, and I would say both within the Mekong but beyond. How do we build stronger and more effective peer learning capacity? How can we get the people on this stage and elsewhere who are doing this in practice talking to each other more frequently in a more structured way so that we can learn faster together about what works in our specific contexts and what doesn't, so that we can advance more quickly and be more efficient in our time and our investments. So I think those are the four things I would end with. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Some good messages there. I mean, these are complex challenges. We do need to be patient, and there's an important role of research and learning and applying those through training and expanding those across countries. So thank you to the panel. Do we have time for questions? No time. So I'd really appreciate, again, the panel's contributions today. Really thought-provoking. I think there's some really important messages on being proactive, the coordination between the national government and the subnational governments, the need for partnerships between the national government and local institutions, the role of international finance, and of course the important role of research and capacity building. So I think with that, we'd like to again give a round of applause for our panels. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks again for a very insightful policy dialogues. And unfortunately, we don't have time for the question, but please feel free to reach out to our speakers if you have any questions. Let us move to the second part of the session today, where we're gonna hear more about the project case study, more specific project case study example in the 3 countries. Since we run out a bit of time, and we hear a lot of mentioning on the Sơn La projects in Vietnam already, so I think I will skip that presentation and we'll move straight to the Lao case example. So please let me invite Alex Label, Senior Natural Resources Specialist at the Asian Development Bank.
So I've been asked by Lan to summarize my presentation in about 1 minute, which I will try to do. And I'll start by explaining that when we designed the project, the Sustainable Agri-Food System Sector project, we used a bottom-up approach. And farmers and agribusinesses told us, well, there are really 2 things we need. We need access to loans. We need to be able to borrow money to invest. And we also need access to infrastructure. So we try to design, and the rest, well, all the technique, all whatever, actually we learn on YouTube. We've been learning on YouTube for actually years, and we watch videos and then we learn. So we've been, this is not the right presentation, the Lao presentation, please. So, so we've been trying to design a project together with the government, and interestingly, from what farmers and businesses told us, we are quite in line with the vision that was shared by Dr. Bundet. So we are quite in line, and we've been trying to build on the enabling infrastructure. So we try to provide farmers with infrastructures that help us farm more productively, for instance, irrigation, or for instance, access to rural roads that connect them to market. As well, I'll just skip all that, as well as access to finance. So we've been providing loans that were much needed in Laos because the microfinance and banking, I would say, sector is not well developed as in Cambodia or in other countries. So we've been providing loans through 2 existing government apex institutions. So loans from ADB to the government, to participating financial institutions, to the farmers and agribusinesses. So that are the most expensive part of the project, which is ADB's, I would say, value added, to be able to invest significantly here in access to finance and resilient infrastructure. As for the other activities, where they are based a bit on demand and the assessment that was made, right? So we realize that farmers, where they can learn on YouTube, but they also need to learn also sometimes through advisory services, through the private sector. So we try to link them up with the buyers, the private sector, so they can learn techniques. 5 more minutes, I'll do it in 1. So they can get techniques and access to quality inputs, and partly work with biodiversity, right? On, for instance, access to clean planting materials for cassava. We also work on commercialization, right? Extremely important, through Lao National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and through other partners to try to improve commercialization. We also have a small nutrition intervention through social behavioral change, because nutrition is still an issue in Lao PDR, with about 30% of children still stunted. Finally, because the project is about increasing value addition inside the country and promoting incomes for farmers and agribusinesses operator, food safety is also very important, because you cannot export out of Laos unless you have strong food safety certifications. We are also working with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Environment on upgrading an existing food safety lab in Lao PDR. And I'll stop here. The total project is 63 million, out of which about half, 33 million, is going to financial intermediation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you. I mean, like, I was aware of the project during the preparation and processing, and I know how challenging it is. And it's great that you made it and the project is approved, and we look forward to see the results. So now let me invite Alvin Lopez to share another case study on sustainable coastal marine fishery in Cambodia.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the strong team from Cambodia who was fully supportive. Both government stand up and yeah, that's our Cambodia team over there. Thank you. Yeah, back in 2022, when the government of Cambodia, Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, approached ADB and said, guys, you got to help us sort of support us with coastal infrastructure, support this coastal fisheries value chain, support us with supporting the SMEs on the coast, the post-harvest processing SMEs, and because they're having challenges in their facilities, they want to upgrade their facilities and all that. So we went out and did some analytical work and found out that most of them were closing down. There was no interest in expanding. There was no interest in improving facilities. Why? Because there was no fish. Fish was declining. Capture fisheries was seriously declining. So all those infrastructure and additional landing sites and everything that was requested made no sense, really, and including establishing a facility because there was nobody wanted to borrow for financing in that sector. So we sort of changed the whole together with the government who took this fantastic move in changing the narrative and shifting to focusing on component, the first component being restoring the fisheries. So component one, slide, I have to change the slides here. And the good news is I have only one slide, which I'll speak for 1 minute, and then there's a 4-minute video for you to see what happens. Okay, which one is this? So the one slide over here just talks about the main issues over there, as you can see on the left. There's this decline in fisheries, which we realized. The second issue was, of course, the infrastructure. The third issue was to also look at lack of private sector investment for obvious reasons in that space. So I said that the project focused on 3 pillars, which is right down there on the left, looking at ecosystem restoration and investment in adaptation, climate resilient coastal infrastructure after the fisheries were restored, and inclusive mariculture and marine businesses as the third component, but rather a business incubator for investment in regenerative sort of mariculture. I'll just stop there, and I will ask to click the 4-minute video right now, which will tell the story.
Climate change is adversely impacting coastal biodiversity. So we are trying here to work with the government of Cambodia and the local fishing communities, including women, to be able to arrest the decline in productivity and also to be able to regenerate the marine ecosystem.
Cái vây ban thùng để xa túc tích cho lâu nè hồi chán nè chẳng cái này.
The Sustainable Coastal and Marine Fishery Project will promote the private sector development by enabling the coastal communities and also the small businesses to diversify their livelihood, adopt the sustainable practice, and also grow into a viable business enterprise.
Dươngចាប់ដើមដាំហើយគឺយើងការពារហើយយើងការពារហ្នឹងគឺយើងចោះល្បាតហ្នឹងហើយចោះល្បាតទាក់ទងនឹងការល្បាតហ្នឹងទីមួយគឺយើងល្បាតទប់ស្កាត់នៅការមកកាប់ព្រៃកោងកាងពីអ្នកដែលមកខាងក្រៅយើងមានរៀបចំទម្លាប់ប្រអប់សាច់ប្រាក់និមិត្តនៅតំបន់ហ្នឹងពេលត្រីនឹងវាចាប់ដើមធំឬក៏ជីវៈចម្រុះចាប់ដើមវាចេញ
ដល់ពេលនេះផែនៅនេះបានន័យថាវាទ្រុឌទ្រោមសឹងតែខូចទាំងស្រុងហើយយើងមើលលំមុនទូកចតរហូតដល់ 60 80 គ្រឿងផែថ្មីនឹងកើតមានឡើងនៅពីខាងនេះផែនឹងចម្ងាយប្រហែលជា 100 ម៉ែត្រទៀតតែពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹងជំរឿទឹកហើយទាមទារឲ្យទូកដែលមានទំហំធំហ្នឹងក៏ចូលមកដែរ
The diver you saw at the end is actually the minister. He himself, the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. And that alone has been one of the key factors to success. 2 years in implementation, this is not an idea, but we're actually seeing impacts. And we've seen that in feedback from the community as well. So without that strong leadership from the Cambodian government, this would not be possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alvin. Very inspiring. Even like I heard this story a few times already, but it's still always inspiring and really remind us to that when we design the project, we really have to work from on the ground. So the last but not least, I would like to invite our speaker from Sokodevi, Mr. Francois Dion, Director of the International Program, Sokodevi, to share an experience on applying Sokodevi's cooperative model to support food system transformation in Laos and in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the ADB for the invitation. I'm Francois Dion, based in Canada. You know, Canadian, we're obsessed by two things. We're obsessed by weather and temperature, and we're obsessed by time. I think that we're worse than the Swiss, so I'm going to have to do it very, very quickly. Okay, well, first of all, Sokodevi, we're an organization that specializes in agriculture, but our main channel is cooperative. We are backed by the cooperative movement in Canada, And we do technical assistance all over the world. We're in 21 countries. And our main donor is the government of Canada. I don't think that they're here anymore. And right now, within those 21 countries, we're in 2 countries here in Asia, Southeast Asia. We're in the Philippines working on a big coffee project. And we're still in Vietnam since we've been in 2008. So today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a project that we've done in Vietnam in the last years and how we can transpose the concept to Laos and Cambodia. Why, first of all, why cooperative? Today we had the Prime Minister of Bhutan who was talking about small farmers. So what do we do with small farmers? They are so important for our food system, and it's very difficult. They're all spread out, and they don't really have access to the value chain, or they're part of the value chain, but they have zero control. So the Prime Minister talked about aggregation. How do we do aggregation? So we can do aggregation at different level, but thinking that we can aggregate small farmers at a level that is more than a community level or more than cooperatives or federation is dreaming, according to me. So this is why we believe in cooperative, which is a really first step to aggregate. These small farmers have big issues like very difficult access to finance, barely no technical assistance or not sustainable technical assistance. They have poor inputs to put in their land that translate into low productivity and very often poor quality of the product. And they don't get good services. I mean, sometimes they can get good services from the government, but they should get good services that really apply to their need at the community level. And one of the worst issues that they face is market access. They have no bargaining power, and they have to accept the price that is given to them for their product. So no security. That's a big issue. So that's why we really focus on cooperative with Sokodivi. So the project, I'm going to go very quickly here. The project that I want to talk to you about is a project that we've realized in Vietnam in 4 value chain, the pomelo, grapes, dairy, and dragon fruit. And first of all, when we arrived in Vietnam, it was difficult to sell the concept of a cooperative, but at the end, I think that we did a really, really good work with the government itself, and we even work we helped change modifying the co-op law in Vietnam back in time. So basically, there were some programs already, and what we did is we joined forces with the Vietnamese government in order to work on the cooperative system based on those 4 value chains that I just mentioned. So we worked on capacity building, obviously, the governance of the cooperative, finance, production, certification, marketing, digital platform. We provided some infrastructure in order to like warehouses, for instance, machinery to transform the products, etc. And we work on business and marketing development, providing working capital, and also marketing and linking the cooperative to clients. Basically, you can't do that only in one day. So we provided coaching during the time that we were there. So basically, governance, production, processing, sales and marketing. This is what we focused on this project in Vietnam. So what are the results? We improve 4 times membership growth. We talk about aggregation, but we need volume. This is essential if we want cooperative to compete with other actors in the private sector, and so that the small farmers can benefit from this system. So 4 times membership, we increase the productivity. Okay, this is pomelo. I'm not going to talk about all the other value chain, just the pomelo. 40% productivity increase, and then the income per hectare for the smallholder farmers increased by 25%, and we managed to export to Europe, China, and Canada, sustaining 30 to 60 tons monthly of export. So that was a great success for the project. How can we relate this to what we could do in Laos, and then I'm going to talk about Cambodia. But the context is very similar. Huh? We have lots of small farmers, small group, but that are informal. They are not professionalized. They don't have all the capability. They don't have the technology and everything that is necessary for this to thrive. Again, limited market access, lack of finance, technical assistance, etc. But we see great opportunities. There's demand for some product. We see the opportunity to strengthen the farmers' organization for marketing. In most of the project where we work, we try to add value to the production of agricultural products. And also we see opportunities to work with the government, like we did in Laos, in Viet Nam, for instance, in order to enable the environment for the cooperatives to thrive. In Cambodia, pretty much the same. The farmers have, and the organization, they have uneven capability. They don't have bargaining powers. I was saying previously, financial barriers, and they have weak quality control and limit product value. And opportunities, they're pretty much the same as we saw for Laos. So I'm not going to go in details. So basically, the 4 pillars where we've been involved is strengthening the farmers' organization. Of course, we have a tool called Perform Co-op, which is to work on every aspect that the organization, the cooperative, needs in order to access the value chain and control part of the value chain. Governance, professional management within the cooperative, and stronger bargaining power. Then improving market access. This is really fundamental, and you cannot do it as a digital farmer. You really have to do through the aggregation of the cooperative that will help to link producers and buyers and be more competitive. Supporting resilient and sustainable production. Of course, we also work at the farms level in order to improve the quality of the product and improve the yield of the product. We work on environmental issues at the farm level, and we work gender component as well. And finally, enhancing food system. What are the outcomes? The outcome for the farmers are better prices. We can produce more local food, so less dependency on imports. And we work agroforestry system where we tend to resilient food system. So I'm going to stop here. I really feel like pressured by the time. It's probably the shortest presentation on the ratio on the longest flight ever, but it's okay. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Francois. I actually wanted to catch up with you more because I'm wondering why, like how the cooperative should maybe expand more on the north. Like now you northern of Vietnam, but we can catch up later on that. Yeah, thank you. So yes, we are running out of time, but unless we have some burning question, yes, please. Maybe we have a time for one or two questions before the closing remarks.
Thank you for presentation. The last coffee one I just joined, the coffee presentation mostly. Yeah, so I see very interesting presentation. I just come from Laos. I think from the ministry, their representation, and as recently I visited some of the provinces. The coffee, I have seen some coffee production area like Ofan, and rarely some private company, they are doing good, but rarely they wanted to expand. And they are also looking European market and the American market, but they have huge potential to upscale. I discussed with them, and they are also sharing some concept note that if there is any things we can collaborate with your ideas, then we can do that. And coffee, rice is also equally important for Laos. And are you also, who is the off-taker in the whole value chain? My question is how that business, like the off-taking process can work. Are you really, you are sourcing yourself, or are you bringing many other off-taker to buy the product? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This is an excellent question. Okay. Well, yes, of course. I mean, I just had time to talk about, like very, very briefly what we do, but the reality is that we work with the government of Canada. We're their main provider of technical assistance for cooperatives, but the international cooperation is changing very, very quickly. Okay, and lots of donors are cutting, and the traditional public donors are cutting, and who's stepping in is the private sector. So project like what we're doing at Sokodevi is actually very, very interesting for the private sector, because they want a strong value chain. They want to be able to show that the value chain is equitable, it's sustainable. So they are willing to team up with an organization like Sokodevi in order for this to work. Just a few months ago, I was speaking at the UCD in Paris, and I was sitting with donors from all over the world, and there were also people from the private sector wanting to invest in impact investment, and they were saying, "Yeah, but how do we do that? How do we participate in these kind of projects? I mean, we don't know the farmers, we don't know the agriculture, we don't know how it works." And the question is, yes, there are organizations that can be middlemen between the farmers, the cooperative, and the private sector, and they will bring some money to do that. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, like all the speakers will be still here until tomorrow. So please feel free to reach out if you have any question, or if you want to explore more collaboration opportunities. So I'd like to invite Mr. Lance Gore, our official in charge director of the Agriculture, Food, Nature, Rural Development, Southeast Asia, to have a closing remarks. Sorry.
Thank you, Lan. Thank you, everyone. It's very late in the day, so excellent stamina. Yeah, and I'm sure we're all keen to get to the very last event of the day, which is the dinner and drinks, and we'll find out where that is. But I joined most of the session. I had to pop out briefly, but it sounded like a very engaged and interesting discussion. Excellency Kim San, DG Bundeth, and DDG Hugh, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. As we come to the end of not just this session, but of the last session of the day, except for dinner, let me start by saying a very sincere thank you to all our speakers and to all of you for such an engaging and thoughtful discussion. I think today's conversation has made one thing very clear. Across Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, food system transformation is no longer just a policy discussion. It's really happening on the ground and in very practical ways. We've heard some really inspiring examples, and I'd like to highlight one key message that stood out strongly, especially from the Cambodia experiences, which is that real transformation starts at the local level. With decentralization, subnational governments are now playing a much bigger role. They are not just implementing policies, they are shaping them, coordinating across sectors, and delivering services directly to communities. And as we've seen, local leadership is absolutely critical for driving climate resilience, improving nutrition, and supporting more sustainable agriculture. The examples we heard today, from school feeding programs to integrating nutrition and food safety in communities, to using digital tools for local governance, are all very practical. They show how national priorities can actually reach people's daily lives. And this is not just in Cambodia. We see the same direction in Lao PDR and Vietnam. In Vietnam, for example, the National Action Plan on Food System Transformation, together with the Food Systems Transformation Partnership, really shows a strong, coordinated, multi-stakeholder approach. What is particularly encouraging is the effort to bring this down to the subnational level through piloting planning processes and developing tools that help translate national strategies into local action. In Lao PDR as well, we see a strong commitment through the development of a national roadmap and ongoing efforts to strengthen coordination and promote climate resilient agriculture. So across these three countries, there is a shared shift from policy to implementation. And that shift really depends on strong institutions and good coordination and sustained investment, especially at the local level. At the same time, today's discussion also reminded us that there is no single pathway. Different project case studies highlight diverse approaches towards achieving food system transformation, from value chain development to fisheries and coastal management to rural infrastructure and agricultural logistics to cooperative models. All contribute to the building more resilient and inclusive food systems. But of course, we also need to be realistic. There are still challenges ahead. Coordination across sectors is not easy. Mobilizing finance remains a key issue. Data and monitoring systems need to be strengthened. And importantly, we all need to make sure that smallholders and vulnerable groups are not left behind. And this is exactly why conversations like today matter. They give us the space to exchange experiences, to learn from each other, and to identify what works and what can be adapted and scaled across the region. Let me just leave you with three simple takeaways from today. First, localization matters. Real change happens at the community level, so empowering local institutions is key. Second, partnerships matter. What we've seen today is a result of strong collaboration across governments, development partners, research institutions, and the private sector. And third, we need to keep bridging policy and investment, making sure that good strategies are backed by real practical actions on the ground. The discussions today have given us a lot to build on, both in terms of lessons learned and potential areas for collaboration. The next step is really to turn these into sustained actions. On the behalf of the ADB, let me reaffirm that we will remain fully committed to supporting Cambodia, Lao PDR, and Vietnam in this journey. We look forward to continuing closely working with you to translate these ideas into real impact for the communities across the Mekong sub-region. With that, thank you once again for your active participation. I wish you a very pleasant evening and a productive continuation of the forum tomorrow. Thank you very much.